Welcome to Stuck, Time to Improv. I'm Mary Scott, and this is my Facebook Live for advice for startup businesses. So thank you for coming. And today, my guest is Rhonda Liebig from the Fresh Inspiration Show. And we're going to start up to improve your income flow. So thanks for coming, Rhonda.
Mary, I am here ready to play, and I love transformation entertainment. I just see you as a lovely being that is sharing such great knowledge, bringing different experts in. So I appreciate you.
Sounds good. So when startup businesses come on board, they're full of passion and desire to change the world. They've got a great product or a great service. So what advice do you have here?
Sometimes I believe we're too much here
Mhm.
instead of being right here where we have all the information. So I'd love to talk about that today.
Okay, let's talk about how you can imagine exactly who your ideal client is and how to use what you know already to get there.
I always see it as why can't we build this organically? I spend time launching businesses and people will come in different ways. They'll want to come in the cerebral and they'll want to go do the research out there on Google or wherever. And they want to look at, what kind of person do they want to work with? What's their age? And this is, I believe, old school. I'll tell you what the new school is in just a moment, and they'll start looking at like these patterns because you want to like really get into the vibe of what your person is that you're talking to. I feel like it's happening too much up here. You're spending so much time in building something that you haven't really been able to test and play and maybe make income right away as you're really starting to get out there and learn how to speak to these people.
Mhm.
So what I think, Mary, is when we start looking at what's been happening the past couple of years where people really want true authenticity. They want to know that you're an expert. And I believe everybody is when they step into their passion. And we sometimes don't give ourselves kudos. And when we go old school way where we're doing all the research, we didn't get an opportunity to connect right here. So when we're trying to fake it till we make it, which is another old school term, that we have a disconnect and it takes us years sometimes to get launching. So why not launch now? Why not look? This is the new school way. Look at the people that you're already talking to.
Right.
What if you organically look at the people that are attracted to you? And this really is systemic on what I love to say, be your best VIP client. Like what you do it for yourself too, so that you can feel it. You can show up exactly the way that you would guide somebody so you can feel the
Mhm.
pain and the vulnerability with it. Look
Mhm.
at the people that are coming to you and you're already kind of starting to work with. Maybe they're not paying you yet, or maybe just a little bit. And from there, listen to their words, listen to their aches and pains, because that's the magic. That's where you've already touched and connected with. And then when you start doing that and you become your best VIP client, that you do this every day and you live in it, now
Mhm.
you know it's truthful. And that is where you can click on the video. You say, I know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to myself and I'm talking to Joe and Henry. And you start thinking of this handful of people.
Mhm.
That handful of people are the people that are attracted to you. They really enjoy your expertise. They come to you and they really see you.
Mhm.
Now think of them and talk to them as you're doing your stuff. Start putting offers out there to play. So because you're already working with your avatar, I'll tell you what, startup companies, you'll always find the gap. You'll say, man, I can do that better. It's like, go release that stuff you've already done though, because now you can see how you can keep growing. And organically, you keep growing. You keep growing and see what you want to change and the stuff that you are looking at, you go, that's pretty good. It could be better. Release that stuff and just keep going, keep growing, and start making those offers so money comes in instead of waiting for a few years like I did 12 years ago.
This is particularly good advice for people who are in the coaching or service industries that have a service to offer. because you go, like you said, with the people who are already around you, and then the newer markets will open up, particularly with word of mouth testimonials from folks.
We need authentic people out there. We need people that are going to lock arms with us. You know, Mary, what you do, what I do, like locking arms. Let's go change the world. Let's go support them now. There's no time. There's no time but to play in your passion instead of get exhausted and do the stuff that you it may feel good at first because you're kind of hiding. You're like, I'm busy, I'm getting my business going. But truthfully, let's get you jumped in, which is the vulnerable space, of course, but it's the best space because you grow fast. You get to go and speak as you're the professionals we are that we've been doing this for a while. And this helps you grow. If you've been doing stuff for 10 years, this advice could be excellent because there is an old school way that is still out there. We're still here in the masculine extreme. How about balancing that and go to the new way and get out there?
Rhonda, can you give a specific example of someone that you've helped through this process?
Yes. Okay, so my client Kim, she is highly a creative and she speaks really, really good. So she goes out and she's already a speaker and she's doing her thing. The issue for the launch of her programs or things that she's created or these visions that she has is that she's afraid, as everybody else is, to be able to put that information out there that I have this program going on. So we started working with the organic space of like, go out and do your work. And so she started doing her own work and she started speaking directly to her people. And she launched her 21-day program. I got to be one of the people that was part of the group as her coach and watch her soar. She was like incredible as a pretty much a first time coach, but all of her experiences that brought her into her passion just came alive. So at first it was like a little like, oh, we're starting live, in the group. And about a quarter in, she was in her professional space helping people and she was making money at it. And it was very scary for her all that time before because of the fraud syndrome that kept coming up for her. She's like, I'm not ready for this. And I go, yeah, you are.
The phrase is do it scared. You're better off doing it now and making some mistakes along the way than waiting because it's never going to be perfect and enough is good enough.
I love the thing you said about like doing it scared. And I don't know if that's your phrase because that's an excellent phrase because
I've
maybe
heard
maybe
it
it's out
somewhere,
there.
I'm sure.
But it's fabulous because I think it kind of switches too. So when you first start out, the scared factor is the vulnerability of people seeing you and maybe making mistakes, which I don't think we ever really make mistakes, but we can talk about that some other time. But then it flips. And then when you wake up in the morning, you go, here, wait, I don't feel vulnerable today. And then you kind of get nervous because you're like, here, wait, I'm not doing new things. So when the switch flips because all of a sudden you're like, here, wait, it used to scare me to make those calls. It used to scare me to do these things. Or I used to want to throw up, which was one of the things I'd feel before I'd make calls. Because to be in your passion, you're always growing. And the exposure of that is important so that you keep growing visibly to build influence and know how that feels and how the heart feels in vulnerability.
Another way to look at it is you can have successes and you can have learning experiences. So you make sure that you learn from those experiences so you don't do that again in that situation and continue on to more successes and more learning experiences. It's all part of the process. So thank you very much for being with us here today for Stuck, Time to Improv. This is Mary Scott with Business Riff. I provide business concierge services to startups, particularly to help them avoid making common mistakes, validate their ideas, and connect to custom resources. Hope to see you again at Stuck, Time to Improv.